Hello everybody, welcome to today's video where I'm going to be doing a little living room tour for you guys. So it was actually just a couple of months ago that I went separate ways with and long story short, I ended up having to move out and find a new place, which was kind of a problem because I didn't have any furniture at all. So I literally had to start from scratch and start building up the furniture and sort of the design and style for my living room. It's actually pretty crazy because up until that point I had never even really given interior design or anything like that any thought at all, which is also why these last couple of months have been such a big learning period for me. And it's really because I knew going into this that if I was going to be spending so much time and money and resources into creating a living room, that it was definitely going to have to be something that I actually liked. So of course I started with doing a lot of research and exploring and investigating online, just really looking up stuff that would inspire me and sort of stick out to me. And after all of that, I sort of discovered that it was really the 50s, 60s, and 70s American interior design, sort of retro vintage style that I was really into, but also with a modern and sort of Western twist to it. So like I said, there's a lot of different influences going on in here, but I think I did a pretty good job of tying everything together and incorporating everything pretty well. Before we start, I'd like to really mention that I am a 21-year-old college student, so my financial capabilities right now are not the best. So there is a lot of different areas of the living room that I had to compromise in, but thankfully I was able to really crack into my creative side and really hunker down and go out there and find a lot of these things for cheap. A lot of these things I got from Facebook Marketplace or from just secondhand retailers, vintage shops, and literally anywhere else that was willing to offer a lower price. And not only that, but I actually myself built a lot of what is in this room. So yeah, I know it's only been a pretty short time since I just started getting into all of this, but I feel like I've made a lot of progress so far, and I really want to share with you guys this sort of crazy, unique style that I never really knew that I had. So the last thing that I should mention is that the house that I'm renting is actually not in very good shape. There's a lot of cracks and holes and like blemishes in the wall and stuff like that, which of course is an ongoing process with me and my realtor. But I'm hoping for the sake of the video, you guys will kind of overlook that and just pay attention to the furniture and stuff that I myself put into the place. So let's get started. Alright guys, so the first thing we're going to start with is actually this dartboard that sits on the main entry door, and it's just a basic like $20 dartboard that I got from Walmart, you know, no big deal. And it's held up with some Velcro patches that are glued to the back of the dartboard and on the door. And I know it's probably not the best spot, but it's the only thing I can think of right now that actually makes sense. The dartboard is really fun, and I use it a lot just to mess around. It's one of those things that I do when I'm trying to like workshop an idea or something, or you know, it's just something that I kind of, you know, fiddle with. And especially I really love it because, you know, it's something that the guests can always enjoy and stuff and play with. And right next to the dartboard is this coat hanger that I'm pretty sure I just got for free. I don't remember even paying for it. I just use it to sort of fill up some space. And it's also like right next to the door, so it kind of makes sense. So yeah, just a basic coat hanger. And right next to the coat hanger are actually these double windows which let in a lot of light into the living room, especially in the morning. So I'm really happy to have these where they are. So I think the curtains are really colorful, and I hardly ever watch movies in here or anything, so I really like it to be well lit in here, and these curtains are, you know, really perfect because they let in so much light. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about is actually right in front of these windows, which is the bookshelf that I made. So as you can see, this bookshelf is actually made with cinder blocks and these long wooden planks The way I made this was I actually went to Lowe's and I bought everything separately and just assembled it when I got home. The cinder blocks were about $2 each, so they weren't that expensive, although they're very heavy to move. And they are a little bit delicate because they kind of crumble if you drop them or nick them or stuff like that. And the wooden planks were actually the most expensive part because I think they were like $10 each, and apparently they're like a nice wood, which you can see after I stained it with a polyurethane stain. I believe it was dark walnut. And it came out actually pretty good. Not only does it look pretty fun and youthful, but also it's really versatile. There's a lot of different ways that you can arrange these cinder blocks and the planks, and you can even make benches. If I wanted to, I could make this bookshelf vertically even, and so there's just so many different ways that you can arrange it. So yeah, as you can see on the very top here, I've just got some stuff. It's just kind of like interesting little items to look at and, you know, to mess around with and stuff. So on the shelves you can see I've got a bunch of novels, and then my books from history. I am a history student. And then I've got a little globe on the bottom there, and yeah, just a bunch of random books. Many of which I look forward to reading. I have not read many of them, but I definitely need to get around to doing that.
We'll see what we can do. Literature, Mr. Bank. Come on now, you don't need to read no literature.
I also really like how the light from the windows just pokes in there. Okay, so right next to the bookshelf in the corner over here is this really cool standing lamp that I actually bought from Amazon. It is one of the few things actually in this living room that I bought full price, and it was pretty expensive. I believe it was around $65 or something like that. But if you know me, you know that I did the research on it and decided that it was actually worth its price. And so yeah, I did my due diligence looking up how to make one of these, and everything I saw was just basically like literally the same price as it was to just buy it from Amazon. Not only for practical use, but I think it gives the room such a warm feeling when you're turning it on. Okay, and right next to the lamp is the first end table. I actually have one on the other side right there. I'll show you guys here in a bit. But these end tables are really cool. I really like the shape of them, and I actually got them by complete accident. I was not looking for anything like this. As a matter of fact, I had a couple of other end tables, but they did not work nearly as good as these. I actually got super lucky with these end tables. I'm not completely sure what brand they are or how much they're even like realistically worth or anything. All I know is that I got them for like $30, which I think is a super good deal, and I jumped right at the opportunity to buy them. The first thing I should mention though is that they're definitely not real wood, which I don't even know how to describe it, but they're like this sort of wood fiber laminate sort of composite material. They're basically like plastic, but looking at them, you can't really tell from far. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is this couch that I actually got off of Facebook Marketplace for like $30. So this couch, when I initially got it, was this very ugly black leather that I believe is called vinyl. It's kind of the leather that they use for mass-produced stuff that is made for cheaply, and again, it's really affordable stuff. I really have nothing against it. Definitely there is furniture that is made cheaply and sold cheaply because people just don't have enough for real leather, so I'm not knocking on anyone, but I knew right away that I could do better than that. And on top of that, there was also some cracking on the bottom cushioning right down the middle. So right away I knew there was two major problems. So the first thing I decided to do was fill in the cracks. I put some liquid latex that I had left over from a mask that I was actually making last Halloween. And it did a pretty decent job of filling in those cracks. So right after that, I knew that I was going to paint the couch. I wasn't completely sure what I was going to do yet, and it's actually a crazy story because I ended up putting many layers of different kinds of liquids and varnishes and stains on this couch until I finally decided that none of that was working, and I just decided to spray paint it. You guys would really be surprised with how easily it is to spray paint a couch. And of course there is different kinds of spray paints that you can use. But I decided to go with a gloss enamel, like the spray paint that will get the closest look to a shiny leather while also really protecting it with a nice coat of paint. Another thing about this couch is that it is also a futon, so it can collapse down into a bed if I ever have a guest that wants to spend the night over or something like that. And then lastly, if you look at these really like heavy duty shiny metal legs at the bottom, they are definitely something that I also really like about this couch, and I'm really happy that they're not badly scratched or anything like that. So yeah. And so the next thing that I want to talk about is actually right above the couch, and it is definitely, without a doubt, the biggest part of the living room, and that is this huge world map that I actually framed myself. Now the map is actually from Amazon, and it is laminated and it is huge. And I actually received it in the mail fully rolled up in a tube, so I actually had to spend a couple days putting weighted stuff over it so that I could flatten it out, which was a pretty fun process. But the frame itself is actually something that I made entirely on my own. The way I made the frame is I just went to Ace Hardware and I just looked for whatever kind of wood I could use to make a frame, and I bought it, I cut it, I sanded it, I stained it, I put it together. What I actually did was I built the wooden frame into this rectangle you see, and it was just a big empty frame, right? And then I put cardboard under the map itself, which is really important because it adds support to the map, of course, but also it is something that you can poke holes into, which is when I use these pin cushions or thumbtacks or anything to press it through the map. You'll actually be able to go through the map and stick in there. If I had the map laying over the cardboard, then I finally put the wooden empty frame over the map so that it was sandwiched between the frame and the cardboard, and then nailed everything together. And then, as you can see, there is this metal ledge rail thing that is at the bottom here. That is actually meant for a dry erase whiteboard for like a classroom or something that I got from Walmart for like $10. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this map came out. And I understand that it's a really huge piece, and that is exactly what I was going for. I wanted something that is eye-catching, and it is definitely something that anyone can admire. And not only that, but it is also interactive. Like I said, I have a lot of stuff laying around that I like people to touch and mess around with and play with, and the map is also something that you can play with. So the next thing up is actually right in front of the couch, and that is the coffee table. The coffee table is one of the 3 basic building blocks that I knew I was going to need for my living room. I knew I was going to need a couch, a coffee table, and a TV stand, and that was something that I was the most sure of when I first moved here. But again, I was not sure of what exact coffee table I was going to get. I started looking at these old vintage school tables that have like these metal legs. So basically I was really just looking for anything that wasn't wood. But the thing about those school tables is that they're really expensive, and they're also really rare and hard to find. Until one day I was in the back end of a vintage shop, literally elbow deep, and I came across this really interesting table. Now again, I really don't know anything about it. I don't know the brand. I don't know when or where it was made. All I know is that the man who runs the vintage shop told me that it most likely was from a bowling alley from the 70s era. So as you can see, there are a lot of cracks on the top, and it is not in the best condition, but nonetheless, I think it looks really cool. But I do plan on finding a way to restore it. Now, another thing that I should quickly add is that this table was actually just the tabletop on its own. So finding the legs for this table was probably just as hard as finding the tabletop itself. I decided to look on mass production, and I actually found on Amazon these iron or steel, I'm not sure what kind of metal, hairpin legs that were for $20. And I really wish I would have been able to find the original legs that went to it, but these hairpin legs look amazing, and I really do think that the original legs would look something similar, if not exactly like this, because it just goes so well together. I think the main thing about it is that it is mostly intact, and it is incredibly unique, and I really love the way it looks. And right under the coffee table I have this cowhide rug that is brown and white. And to be honest, I really do think the cowhide actually looks pretty cool. I really think it works, so I'm leaving it there for now. So the next thing that I want to talk about is actually right back here in the corner, and it is this really cool standing wooden coat hanger that I actually got from Amazon. Again, it's just one of those things that I knew if I had to build and buy all the material myself and stuff like that, it would have literally come out to the same price, if not even more. And again, just like the standing lamp over there in the other corner, the coat hanger does have a lot of practical use, but also looks really cool. As you can see, the wood on it is really beautifully varnished. And the whole thing just has like a super cool, really intricate look to it. And just for the hell of it, I threw some lasso rope and like a mechanic's jacket and a cowboy hat on it. And to be completely honest, I really don't even use it that much unless there's guests who want to hang their stuff up, which again is not too often. And the next thing that is actually right across the opening which leads to my kitchen that I actually got from Goodwill for like $25 is this really cool accent chair that has an orange seat on some really nice, cool looking wooden legs. And it originally had a white seat on it. So I went in there myself and just unscrewed the bottom legs from the seat and painted the seat this really cool, vibrant orange. I could have probably done a better job of painting it because it does have a little bit of drip marks. And also there are actually some scratches and dings on it, which were just inevitable when I moved in, that I really need to get retouched. But all in all, I think it looks really cool, and I think it goes great with the rest of the room, especially with the green couch. And right along the same wall on the other side of the wall heater is actually this really cool bar stool that I actually also got from Goodwill for like $15. When I originally got it, it was actually a lighter color wood. So I went in there and completely separated all of the pieces from each other and stripped it down, sanded it, restained it, and revarnished it. And now it is this darker walnut finish that I really like. Right behind the bar stool is actually one of my favorite parts of the living room, which is not even a piece of furniture.
No, I want an official red undercover and I shoot you in a jet with my rifle.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.
Which is probably the most famous BB gun or even like toy for any boy in America, and it is the Red River BB gun. I really like having this thing around because when I get home after a long day or something and just want to blow off a little steam, I'll pop open the door to my backyard and just shoot at some random like signs and trash cans and stuff like that. Of course, I'm really careful not to hit any people or any animals or anything like that. And I actually just recently got it from Walmart for like 25 bucks. And I'm not exactly too sure what I want to do with it, but I think it looks okay just hanging out back there behind the bar stool. Right above the bar stool, hanging on the wall over here, is probably one of my favorite pieces of the room. And that is this really cool 1989 original Marlboro wall clock / sign. I'd imagine that this thing was originally used like in gas stations or something like that. But nonetheless, after, 30 years, it ended up in a vintage shop where I stumbled across it, and I was not even looking for anything like this, but I knew right then and there when I saw it that I had to have it. So again, this is just one of the few pieces of the room that I've actually never worked on or anything. And it's still got a lot of like scratches and dirty marks and stuff like that, which I have no intention of cleaning. It really speaks for itself, and I really just love it. I don't condone smoking, and I don't smoke or anything like that, but I definitely think that the smoking culture in and of itself is pretty cool.
Sunshine, a tear from your eyes bring the rain. I feel your touch, your warm embrace.
Piper?
And I
What the hell are you doing? Mrs. Draper?
You are my special angel through eternity.
And I really do think that Marlboro is a cool brand, even though cigarettes have had such an awful impact on society. So yeah, definitely one of the more controversial pieces in the living room. And I actually think I got a pretty decent deal on it, because if you look online, they range anywhere from like $80 to $100, and I got this one for $60. So the next thing that I want to talk about is actually on the wall opposite of the couch and the map. And that is this wooden TV stand that I actually got off of Facebook Marketplace for like $30. As you can see, it's pretty basic standard stuff that really, if you look at a lot of TV stands, they do all look really similar. But this one to me really stood out because it just looks really girthy and thick and durable and just looks really well built. I really like the shape of it. I really like the big empty open spots on the top and the really big drawers on the bottom. Probably my favorite part are the big metal handles on the drawers at the bottom. And again, it's really one of those things that I hardly even use, but really do tie the room together. The very last thing that I want to talk about is actually this Navajo wool blanket that I just really simply nailed to the wall, that I actually got from a thrift shop for, I believe, like $8. I thought it was a really, really good deal, especially because it's 100% wool, and the graphic on it I think is really, really cool. So thank you guys so much for letting me show you around, and if you got any inspirations or any ideas or anything like that from my living room, then I'm very happy, because again, I have worked really, really hard and spent a lot of time and money and resources into building this, and especially in such a short time. And I know it's a really, really unique sort of style, but I feel like, again, it's pretty youthful and pretty cool, and I hope you guys liked it. If you guys enjoyed the video and are still interested, please go listen to the Blank Canvas podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, where I talk extensively not only about furniture, but my style, my personal style in general. Also, real quick, I'm going to be leaving links in the description to everything that you saw here that you can still purchase and stuff like that. And if this video gets enough exposure, I might do like a living room update a little bit later, and then also show you the rest of the house, which also has some pretty cool stuff. So yeah, I definitely learned a lot from doing all of this, and if you guys would get out there and explore the world of art and interior design and sort of discover your personal style, then that would make me very happy. And again, go out there and discover yourself and your personal style and make yourself a living room.